ultimate music
You won't believe I'm not fucking you with me.
Yo, check this out, man.
It's some outrageous conversations.
Did you know ek het nou amper iets gesê? So are you saying Namibian men were not romantic?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Huh?
Yes.
Why? What are the values of Namibian men? Is there anything good about us?
Yeah, I'm stacking up.
She is striking a blank.
You know what?
Let's get to the real thing.
The mornings on Informanté Radio. The sound for a new age.
Yes, indeed, we are getting to the real thing. 8:25 on a Thursday morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Bigs here on Informanté Radio. You're once again live with myself, Cubase, Maria. Joining me in the studio this morning, Moro Moro.
Moro. You're going to tell me what day of lockdown it is, right?
It's day 34, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I think day 34.
Perfect.
We are almost at the end, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, since you are counting the days. Firstly, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Like you didn't miss the studio yesterday? We haven't seen you in like a day and a half now.
No. I love, I love being in studio, but I also take.
You also love being.
I also appreciate those moments. I don't have to be here, so.
Right now you mentioned, of course, what day of the lockdown it is. Just a mini conversation we had on air yesterday. What is your opinion on possibly extending or not extending the lockdown?
Two places about it. Obviously, there's a part of me that says, with 8 active cases currently, and the fact that we haven't reported any in 2 weeks, I feel like, we can be a little bit more lax in our safety measures. When I say this by, obviously, opening up,
relaxing some of the restrictions.
But unfortunately, other countries are showing us are experiencing the second wave of infections after they started relaxing. So that's also a concern of mine. It's like, what if now?
Or if we feel like, okay, we're doing well and we relax, and then we are hit with a problem again.
Yes, exactly. And even yesterday, I went to the mall yesterday to get some groceries, and I noticed like a lot of shops like Mr. Price Home, Mr. Price itself, even just the clothing section of Woolies. People are now, I don't know, allowed, I guess, to shop normal. It's not just essential items anymore.
I guess so, yeah. So I'm seeing even like a lot of companies who I would not consider essential services that have been open, especially during the course of this week. I think some people took it upon themselves to sort of start opening business this week.
Yes, the consumers are definitely getting back into the swing of things, and I really did pick that up at the mall yesterday. So I was wondering, like, I don't think this is a lockdown. I mean, shops that should not be operating are operating now. So,
and the sad part, I think, is we all have to get. We'll have to get used to standing in queues before you get into a store, especially
certain ones. I must say that I really commend. I think the most proactive supermarket chain I've seen so far, based on obviously my own experience or observation rather, is Checkers. So Checkers they're checking temperature
as you go in.
As you go in. They even the hand sanitizer from the bottle doesn't require you to touch it. You basically press with your foot. It's a machine. You press with your foot, and
that's so cool.
Yes, and then the spray just comes out. All the cashiers have these shields, like the big ones, not just the protective, the plexiglass, the plastic glass thing over their faces, and it just seems that measures are being taken more seriously. They're wiping down. There's like a section where all they do is wipe down the trolleys, so you don't have to do it yourself. So I think they've been the most proactive. I even saw that even during prayer hour, that the hour that was declared by the president. I happened to go to, because I had just come from this show, and I went to the mall, and it's the only shop I found people queuing up because they had actually closed the shop for that time for prayer. I think it was actually 15 minutes. They closed it and people had to queue outside. Whereas in the other shop on the other side of the mall, which is Super Spa, people were just walking, and tellers were just working as normal on prayer during prayer time.
We all have to be proactive, man. Like, I mean, even if everybody is being extra careful, if there's just that one person who's not, that one person sort of could nullify the work that everybody else is doing. So
yes,
I guess we really, all of us have to be proactive. Anyway, we will hear from the president today. I think he's going to be addressing the nation with regards to the lockdown and, whether we are the way forward, basically.
Yeah, I think whatever decision he announces will definitely, two things, be criticized and also be praised, whatever the decision.
Of course, he's not going to please everybody.
Yes, he's not going to please everybody, not today.
Yeah. A lot of people are, of course, concerned because they're looking at the case of South Africa, and obviously they will have to extend, or they have extended their
in excess
their
of
lockdown.
5,000 infections now.
Yes, exactly.
And they reached the over 100 mark of deaths.
So
the over 100 of
and
deaths
it's still
now.
climbing.
It's still
not
climbing.
coming down.
Yeah.
So
even the last 10 deaths were reported just yesterday alone. So I foresee South Africa turning into the Italy of Europe. Maybe not to the
Africa.
Well, the Italy of Europe, South Africa of Africa.
Maybe not as extreme, but they are definitely heading. They have the highest numbers in on the continent at the moment. So and I mean, there are countries that are more densely populated than South Africa, like Nigeria, which surprisingly are doing not so bad.
Yes, but
not so good, but not so bad.
No, but Nigeria is also not doing the mass testing that.
I'm
very skeptical of densely populated countries that have when we know that figures should realistically be more. It's like including Angola, including Nigeria, those like Ghana, Kenya, just countries that have huge populations. That you look at them and you say, no, actually, if South Africa looks like this, for sure,
then your numbers don't seem to add up either.
Especially Nigeria. Especially Nigeria. So I'm a little bit skeptical actually about Nigeria, but so the situation in neighboring South Africa is not good.
It's not a good one, let's wait and see and hear what the president has to say with regards to this today. All right. Let's actually get to the news. There's something else that also was sort of making waves yesterday. And of course, there's been more reporting. Yesterday, I think the day before, it was just a video that was circulating on social media of Mr. Huawei.
What is his nickname? I'm not going to try and say his name. Franz, otherwise I'll say Franz. Omigu.
Yes, where Omigu is seen assaulting this gay person on video. It seems to be there was some form of fraudulent activity or some form of
he accused him of stealing from him.
Stealing from him, yes. And of course it was a huge debate on social media. I mean, there are human rights. We are a country of laws. You cannot just take the law into your own hands, regardless of what you think the other person did. And then, of course, some other people are like, she may help, but what.
Let's also be clear. This is not just assault. This is torture. I think there's a fine line. We need to make that distinction.
Of course.
If you tie somebody to a chair and bind their hands,
and then you beat them,
repeatedly to the point that their chair falls. And you continue to whip them. This is torture. Assault is if the first time he noticed that the guy, let's say he punches him. That's assault. That's assault. But the torture is to actually go through the process of inflicting such.
But it shows just how brazen some of this. Some people sort of think they are, and even to be filming yourself committing a crime, basically, because that's what it was.
Yeah, Yeah, I think the video is what made me realize just how entitled we are, because usually people hide their criminal activity, so you don't want the phone coming out, but for you to instruct somebody to take a phone, it's because you want to show others what you're capable of doing when somebody reportedly steals from you. But I think also the other element that I think a lot of people have, for the most part, kind of overlooked is that this was a homophobic attack. Doesn't matter what the guy did; it's a homophobic attack. Now somebody will say, yeah, but what does his sexuality have to do with the incident if he's accused of theft? Well, he called him on video at least 3 times a morphe. Repeatedly, morphe is a derogatory term used for queer men. So, but also apart from all of that is we actually realize that with homophobia is the punishment is always more severe. Okay, so if you steal from somebody, right, and let's say the person assaults you, that's fine. But when you're homophobic, the assault is elevated because you are also dealing with other emotions of. And at some point, he called him a conhond. Yes. No, and I'm like, whoa. Yes, exactly. So it was a very uncomfortable video to watch. I mean, just knowing that had happened to somebody. And the fact that he just continuously whipped him and nobody, all the witnesses or onlookers just stood back and filmed this. If you chip in, old Migu's gonna whip you too. I think those that were watching were enjoying it. For them, it was a show. But more than anything, I think it's also time to hold our leaders accountable because he's a prominent person in society. Now, the story, of course, has developed. He has since been arrested. I don't know if you guys have seen the insert on the Informanté Facebook page. There is one. Okay, maybe give me an update. You were giving me an update just now. He got arrested. He was arrested along with 2 accomplices. Probably the cameraman and maybe. Probably the cameraman and somebody else who stood by. I don't know. But the victim is a 21-year-old. One thing I didn't appreciate, I must say though, and I just wanted to put this on record. I realized the incident report that the police gave out to the media is giving the side of the perpetrator and not the victim, which is very strange because incident reports generally tell the complainant side. That's the information you have. When the complainant comes and lodges a case, they say, this is what had happened to me. I was called in, I was tied, I was whatever. But for whatever reason, is the information that was given to the media was the chief side of the story, which
like they were reporting on a case that the chief had laid.
No. They were talking about.
I'm saying the way they wrote the incident report, it's almost as if it was the chief. Yes, he's the one.
It was the chief that had laid the complaint. But it was like, oh yes, he whipped him because he stole money from him on 2 occasions, and then he called him. It almost starts victim blaming, like almost the police trying to justify this man's actions to society, so that when people look at this, they say, okay, well, he's justified to have meted out this punishment because this guy stole from him. No, it doesn't matter what the situation is.
I mean, we
have laws.
It's vigilante justice, and imagine if anybody could do if I feel like you've wronged me, I can just tie you up and whip you the whole. Imagine if we could all do that, then it would be complete chaos everywhere. That's why we have laws. That's why we have a police force that deal with situations like this and that are supposed to handle these kinds of situations.
Exactly.
So no vigilante justice. But like we said, he has been arrested. He's in custody. I guess we will follow up the case as it does go on. He is a prominent a prominent figure in the community there.
Has been for years. He in fact was one of the founders of the former DTA, now what is it called? PDM. And then he served as a Chobabe's councillor for 2 terms. I think that was.
He also formed a party.
Then he formed a party and ran for the presidential elections. Obviously, didn't get enough votes, and then that party disbanded. and now he does work in the Maika region for the Swapo party, and is obviously a chief as well of a traditional authority. So this is obviously, there's a level of entitlement that comes with it if you've been in position of power, almost feeling untouchable because of your influence. But this is not right.
Yeah, no, it's not.
This is absolutely
It's not like
correct.
it's ironic. Yesterday when we were talking about it, I'm looking at the newspaper and I'm also reading the Ambrosius Kanji case where he got bail as well for assault. Obviously not a situation that is exactly the same as this one, but assault nonetheless, and threatening somebody with a firearm. And this is also somebody who's a counselor here in Windhoek. So there is a certain level of entitlement, and I'm glad that the law is taking its course here.
Yeah, but that's a problem. It's like the law takes its course and then it goes away and then they do this again. It's Kanji's also been on the wrong side of the law before, but but he continues to do these things because he still remains untouchable, or that's what he thinks. And anyway, I see sorry, just to get a comment. I saw a comment here by a certain Craig Six God Otsub. Okay, he says his sexual orientation was the cause for the attack being so extreme, but just stop trying to finesse people and we won't have this discussion. That goes for women too. Now, again, Craig, this is where the victim blaming comes. If a crime has been committed against you, go to the police.
Yeah.
If somebody has stolen something from you, take it to the police.
Yes.
Yeah. When you take matters into your own hands,
then
when
you are
seek
also
your own justice, then we are going to have this discussion.
You are also being a criminal.
Yeah. Then you actually, I think, even a worse criminal to extent.
Exactly. It's so brazen that you are even filming it and publishing it to the world because you think maybe you are humiliating the victim in the process, but you're incriminating yourself because it is a crime. Martin Shimbali. We are just waiting for the president to tell us if lockdown will be executed or end up on the 4th before
I think he
we
wants
move.
to say extended.
Yeah, I guess. Please extend even up to 2 weeks from Waldo Jr., Philippe. Waldo, that is a very unpopular opinion right now.
In fact, very, very unpopular.
Robert Diedick saying, morning crew, Kota Nande, Ngilingani. I'm going to butcher your surname, so let's just leave it there. We are still waiting for the 750. There was a message from the ministry during this week. But I'll find it for you and I'll share during the course of the week. I think they did say in the newspapers, yes, where they were like they're still processing some of the cases or some of the applications that had previously been turned down. Of course, after some more information had been gathered and maybe some more due diligence had been done, some of them were cleared and would receive their money, I think, sometime during this week. I can't remember the story so vividly anymore.
Yeah.
But it was something in the newspapers this week.
Yes.
Morning crew in the studio. That's Hang Yo Pyo. I used to see this name when we actually started doing the show last year. And it's been gone for a while. But anyway, morning crew in the studio. Hope the morning is cool. That side. What is your opinion on the issue of lockdown? Like we said, look, there's a case to be made for opening up. There's a case to be made for remaining in lockdown.
Yes.
And like Marielle mentioned, whatever the president decides today, some people are going to be unhappy. Some people are not going to be satisfied. They're going to feel he should have gone in the opposite direction.
Oh yes. So
And
we must be open to criticism today.
Yeah, very much
Sure.
so.
And praise, actually, equally.
Yes, very
And
much
praise,
so.
yeah.
Frans van Wyk, updates City of Windhoek.
Regarding, is it regarding Fabian? Is it regarding the open markets?
Yeah.
Is it regarding water issues? What you
Well,
need to
like
be
ci-
more specific.
When you say City of Windhoek, what do you
yeah,
mean?
there's a lot happening there.
Good morning, Edwin Swartz also joining the show this morning. Good morning. How is this cold morning? The cold morning is fine. That's Isi Wes Boyki. Kamuthuwite. What happened at City of Windhoek yesterday? Why the two councillors open a case in Jombo Cubase?
Okay, actually stay tuned on Informanté. We're going to report on that later today. I think this is between RDP and another political. There was some shouting and squabbles that happened
Yeah.
in the August House.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to give you the full, a more detailed story, of course, on the Informanté Facebook page during the course of the day. So just keep checking. Actually, you guys should hit the notification button so you don't miss these things whenever they are posted. All right.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Puxi, Aerodynamic, Ananias, good morning, guys. The sound is perfect. Laugh out loud.
So we sorted, the issue has been resolved. I've been telling you.
Since nobody's talking about sound, you figured you just throw it in there. South Africa recorded a record high increase in cases by 354 new cases in the last 24 hours. So I believe we should definitely extend, maybe relax the strict domestic regulations, such as domestic travel ban, but definitely extend the lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're also finding, while we're on that note, what we found is, and I think this was South Africa's problem or mistake, or let me rather say at initial, is this self-quarantine. So we found that people that were put in self-quarantine because they tested positive, were left their houses and went about their business to shop and whatever, and that was the fundamental mistake that South Africa did. Instead of putting them in facilities where there's control and checking for
making sure that
people are in isolation centers. They should have put them in isolation centers, but they let them go home and gave them that free will. And obviously, people are people. Not everybody has this.
Man, I'm just going to the shop.
Yes, I'm just going to go to the shop quickly. I'll put my mask on or whatever. And infected other people in the process. By the way, South Africa, it was exactly the same. In Angola, there was a report, for example, where they did put them in like hotels, people that were coming in from like Europe, specifically Portugal and other countries. And these guys had parties, and they bribed the police officers, played their music, and then they ended up infecting each other and got girls to come as well from outside. In fact, there's even a report, I think a few days ago, it was reported that a 40-plus-year-old man who had come in from, returned home from Portugal, I think, they said he had infected his 17-year-old daughter, right? That was the initial report. Only for his wife, who is also infected, to come forward and say, no, that's not his daughter. That's his girlfriend.
Oh my gosh.
So he's having an affair with an underage.
And then they tried to spin it off as his daughter. They tried to
spin it off as his daughter, because that's what the girl told police officers.
Oh my gosh.
Or not police, like health officials, to try and hide the relationship, because it was supposed to be a secret. So he was supposed to be locked down. He actually left his house to go see his mistress, a young mistress, 17-year-old, I think 16, 17. So that's the scandal kind of, brewing in Angola. But there's a lot of stories like this.
Of course. Men will never cease to amaze. Morning, I'm so happy with you. I have no words, just saying good job to you. Kisses. That's Tango Felzada. Okay. Edwin Swartz, what time will the president address the nation regarding the lockdown? I think at 4? Silent.
Sometime in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think 4 p.m., right? That's when the president is addressing us.
Time is still yet to be communicated.
Okay, our legal correspondent says time is yet to be communicated. All right, Koti Smiley Ghana. Morning. I am watching from Hentis Bay. It's good to have you on board, Koti. Kido November. Why? No, please. Wait. Oh, it's a reply to some. You guys are replying to each other, and then it kind of confuses me. So I'm going to skip a couple of comments here. Must extend the lockdown till the 15th of May. Is that because you want to stay at home and not work? Or is because you have serious concerns? Anyway, morning. Watching from Marienthal. That's Cassius Kakazi and Brucha Koitage. What time will that announcement by the president be? Just keep watching checking out the Informanté page. I'm sure we will keep you updated. Elifacido Pascal, watching from Rundu. How's the lockdown in Rundu like? You guys still have beer on the black market or not? Fulano. Oh my God, never mind. Just saying good morning. And Piara Kapira saying love you guys. Boki Bok, which frequency is it on? it depends on where you are,
Yes.
I guess.
But this is the easiest way to listen.
Yeah, this is the easiest way to listen to the show. And bonjour from Samaritan Ebwa. Okay, those are the comments I'm going to read for now.
Oh, well, there's one from Ellie van Beek says, I feel sorry for Michab. Michub, sorry. He did not realize the implications that his actions caused.
Yeah.
I have zero sympathy for perpetrators. Okay. You can't tell me you didn't have an idea.
I mean, if this is somebody who's ran for the highest political office in the country, you are supposed to be at least acquainted with the laws of our nation.
Know them like the back of your hand. And you're taking, it's a donkey whip, by the way.
Yep.
We're not talking about he took a slipper off his foot and spanked him, or a belt, or like mothers like to do, they take those extension cords or whatever. No, he went to go get a donkey whip. Do you guys know how okay, I don't know how painful a donkey whip is. I've never been whipped, but I can imagine it's a whip.
You know how thick the hide of the
rod
donkey is, and then the donkeys feel that way.
Yes.
So imagine my thin skin, how that's going to feel.
A stubborn donkey runs when it's hit. What do you think the pain that they feel?
Oh man, Martin M. Utoni, the frequency in Wildfish Bay, please. At the coast, we are on 103.3. But like we said, the easiest way to listen is here. Or of course, you can stream us on the website all day long. The frequency in Wildfish Bay. Okay, in Dadapo, Andreas, morning, watching from Katima Mulilobos.
We have somebody watching from Khobabis as well, Albert van Cakemood. I saw somebody saying that they're also watching from the queue of the Natis. Thank you.
Oh.
I think Natis is open now, so they're in the queue and they're listening. I hope you have your earphones on, but thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, and I hope you are social distancing, because I've been seeing those queues. There's no social distance in those queues. People are just...
Yeah.
And you try to move because you see the guy behind you is moving too close, then you move, and then you see he also moves.
Yeah.
You try to move to the side, he's also following you. Oh. Penehafo, teacher, please stay home. Oh, okay, it's another reply to another comment that came in a bit earlier on. But anyway, let's tackle the other issue that, of course, I wanted us to get into this morning, and that is... I guess an update on the Fabian case.
Yes. So the Fabian case is going to be. It's been extended to the 8th of May.
8th of May, yeah.
For a decision on whether or not he will be granted bail. But this was postponed predominantly because the magistrate wanted clarity on two main issues. The first being, since him and the complainant are colleagues. How would they, if he's granted bail, how would they avoid contact?
Yeah.
Because they work
They have
together.
to work together.
They have to work together. That's the first thing she needed clarity on. And then the other clarity that the magistrate needed was how he was not going to interfere with investigations, considering he's a police officer.
And we've already seen that he has access to documents that he's not supposed to.
Exactly.
Yes.
So his defense lawyer suggested putting in place stuff like keeping a distance of 100 meters with the complainant, and also putting it on record that yes, they're colleagues because they both work for the city of Windhoek, but that they are at different buildings. She's in CBD, he's on the other side.
At the city
at
police
the city police office, so that he says they don't live close to each other, so it wouldn't be a complication. But then the state prosecutor was very number one. Some of the statements that the state collected was, and he still lives there because it's a backyard apartment. So they feel like if he's granted bail, also the state was clear in putting it on record that they already saw that before his arrest, he was already ahead of them in all the investigation. He seemed to just know
he
everything.
knew which going to take
what
because
witnesses were going to give their statements. He was just ahead of them all the time, obviously information. And so the state is concerned, of course there's going to be influence. There's just no way around it. But bail hearing applications, we've seen his colleagues in drones coming to the court in uniform to support their colleague. But
Yeah.
fundamentally, first of all, the courts are closed to the public. All right. City police is not there on duty. So for them to be attending with state resources, by the way, coming there with the city police vehicle in your uniform to come and support you is not allowed. But also apart from that, I just think it sends the wrong message. He is still, in this case, the perpetrator. Or,
Yeah.
you know, the alleged.
He's the suspect.
He's the suspect. That's a
Yeah.
better word. He's the suspect.
Mm.
It sends the wrong message, colleague or not. So,
You're supposed to uphold the law.
yes, you're exactly. Since when do we show up as upstanding members of society, like police officers,
To support a
to
suspect.
support a suspect? I mean, you can support them in the comfort of your home, but to
Yeah.
be there physically and also to wear your uniform is just, I think, it just send, it really does send the wrong.
Sort of
the
a
wrong
show.
message.
It's like a show of. It's an intimidation, sort of.
Yes, exactly. So those are some of the concerns in him being granted bail. I didn't like the fact that I think the media should be very careful in how we report about it. We had a weekly that inaccurately reported that the magistrate is seeking for the DNA of the fetus that was aborted
Yes,
to see if it's his.
I heard that this morning, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it.
No, that was just put on record by the state prosecutor that this is still what we need to do to basically show that investigations are not complete, that they
Yeah.
still need to send the sample to South Africa, which they've not been able to do because of lockdown,
Yeah.
for that testing. That still, it has not been done yet. So it was just a matter of putting things on record that, look, our investigations are ongoing. The police is still doing investigations, and some of the investigation that still needs to complete it is in this area and in that area. It wasn't a thing of the magistrate say, well, I can only make a decision. First, let me get the results. If this is, in fact, his
kid.
case, that information is going to be for trial.
Yeah.
It's not for bail hearing.
For bail hearing, yeah.
But the way this weekly newspaper reported it, it's made it seem like that. And of course, if you give inaccurate information, you're going to have the wrong discussions. And as we saw in the comment section, because wow, Facebook is generally so very problematic, that those were the type of conversations that were happening.
That were being had, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing I heard about the entire thing when I woke up this morning. Is the first thing I heard that, the magistrate is waiting for the fetus, the DNA results of the fetus before they can make a decision.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, that is even the wrong information. But I'm just wondering though, should he be granted bail? Should he be working? Shouldn't he be
suspended?
Suspended.
I would think he would be. I think especially for an allegation of this magnitude,
Yes.
it's not child's play. I mean, this is one of what we consider serious crimes, which is it's murder, it's rape is one of them, and obviously stuff like armed robbery and stuff like that. These are extreme crimes. So there should at least be a suspension, and also just knowing that they are colleagues. The complainant works for the city.
For the city of police.
Different departments or not, she has to face her colleagues on a day-to-day, especially when there's already judgment. We already know now that a majority of people stand with Fabian. I think that's even a tough, the victim or survivor in this will really have a harder time because of it. So, he should be suspended. I believe so.
I think so. I mean, city police especially, I think they should be sending a message out to the public right now. I mean, I understand as a force you guys want to stand together, but imagine how will I be safe or letting you into my house, for instance, knowing that anything that could happen there, I probably wouldn't get any justice because you refuse to sort of prosecute. I don't want to use the word prosecute or investigate, but you refuse to
take action.
Yeah, to take action against members of the force who commit crimes.
So it sends a wrong message. And I mean, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, you're going to damage this man's reputation. Is what we hear a lot, right? Like, especially when perpetrators are named and shamed. We talk about people that, we call them rape apologists. They talk about damaging of the perpetrator's reputation. But let's be clear, there's rarely ever any damage to a perpetrator's reputation. Hardly ever.
Yeah.
Okay, people continue life uninterrupted. This guy is the face of city police. my question is, if you don't suspend him, are you going to keep him at the same desk?
Exactly.
I certainly don't want him in studio next to me.
Because
You know?
if you watch the show, he's the guy we normally speak to on Mondays to give us an update
Exactly. While there's this
on policing.
cloud or hanging over his shoulder, over his head, I don't want him next to me. In fact, he's already suspect for me, and he is a suspect, So literally, I don't want him next to me. So what is going to happen is, would he still be, if he then returns to work, is he still going to be, when we need information on city police, the guy that's giving us that information? When we need somebody in studio to represent the city police, is he still the guy that's going to pull up here and walk in here like nothing has happened? What's really happening?
Yeah. Maybe... but I'm sure nobody at City Police is going to want to talk to you about that case. Nobody.
No, I'm not even talking about that case. I'm talking about general information about the city police, their community policing.
No, I'm thinking maybe it's a question that we should be asking them. It's like, okay, so should Fabian
nobody.
get bail?
Kanime for sure will not talk to us about it. And I don't know how true these claims are, but I've been informed that he seemed to be clear that he's supporting Fabian in this. I don't want to accuse him, but that is what the streets are saying, that he's got the backing and support of the
force,
basically the
top
city
brass.
police boss, basically. Whether that's true or not, it may be. I have not verified, but it's. Already just to hear that it concerns me. It's very concerning to hear that.
The 8th of May, that will be next week, Friday, if I'm not mistaken. We are definitely going to keep an eye on that one. Let's read some more comments. Lizzie Declare, good morning. Because like me, when I get angry, I just take a walk. But now I can't even leave my yard to take a walk. So what? So you turn to beating your wife or what?
But I think you are allowed to take a walk you're allowed to take walks.
Like this morning I passed a checkpoint here on Independence Avenue on my way to work, right? So there's a cab next to me, and I see maybe the lady doesn't have the travel documents. So she decides to get out of the cab. And now the police officers are mostly standing on the one side of the road. So she gets out of the cab and walks past the checkpoint, and then goes to go wait for the taxi on the other side to come pick her up again.
No?
The things that we will.
It's like Taxi Chronicles, you should write a book. I promise you're gonna have a lot of stories to tell.
For sure. Ali van Beek, I feel sorry for Omigup. He did not realize the implication that action caused.
No, that's what I read.
Yeah, I think we read that one. I'm also, now that I start reading, it sounds very familiar. Waldo, Junior, I walk at the airport and I have to say that it is difficult being at the front line of this, and it's not that I want the extension for fun, but for our safety.
Yes.
It's fair enough. Lucas Peomunu, morning, watching from the coast, doing some home workouts. Stay healthy, you all. Thank you. I almost said share a video of your workouts with us, but never mind. Snoopy Shikulo, morning Grootman. All our leaders, when they meet, are under frustration, right? Hatred? That's supposed to be hatred, I guess. And more confused, only arguing, following what happened yesterday at the councillor's office and usually parliaments. Are you with me? Oh, yes, I'm with you. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But this, of course, are supposed to be, especially are supposed to be the examples to the rest of us.
I joked about, well, it wasn't really a joke, it was a fact, but I kind of tweeted about it on social media yesterday. I said, it's so strange because these are the same leaders that say they're not gonna, that don't want to give the youth a chance because they say we're childish.
Yeah.
And then
Who's childish now?
And then you look at the video like, is this what you call maturity? Because I don't want it if this is what you're talking about.
I'd rather be childish.
I'd rather be childish. Thank you very much.
Edwin Swartz, Uncle Migup just extended or ended on the wrong side of the law, so his leadership is hanging in the air. We'll see. You know, these things, we always tend to think that, but then somehow the case goes through the courts and Omigu comes back home and the community votes for him or elects him or whatever the process is. Again.
Yes, by the way, what we have found, and it's maybe a general principle, is that most leaders in the community that commit this type of crimes are very charming people. They're just usually very much liked, to a point that you will overlook some of their actions. But that serves no purpose because it makes them more entitled.
Yes.
Because they're very self-aware. They're very aware that they're much loved, much praised. So, beat up a gay man here, nothing. Or punch a woman in the face, it's nothing.
And what's worse? The woman, like the whole altercation started because she wanted to know about the food parcels.
Yes, as a community leader, I just want to know, am I getting food?
You are my constituency leader, and I want to know this information from you. Who else can I go to? And
she made the point of going to his house to get this information.
and these are the same people that will come to your house when they are seeking votes. They will come. They will come to your house. They will come sit in your living room and drink your tea. But then when the tables are turned, you get a punch in the face. Good morning, guys. Are you guys okay there in Windhoek? Is the food enough now? We're fine, John. Mr. Shombe. Penafo Ndeshi Ngoli. They can't extend the lockdown and keep things the way they are. And what do you propose should happen? Okay, maybe let me move down because there are some new comments down here. I just joined too, pleasure. Wallfish Bay, and then Maria with that hearts in the eyes emoji. Sir, you said it very well that there is no social distancing at Natus. All right, some apples, or some same applies. Oh, what day is today? Thursday. Some apples. Same applies at the international airport, and people want lockdown to end. Extend the lockdown for our safety, please, and supply food parcels to the needy. This thing is serious. I was having this conversation with Tatinawan or Semi earlier on. It's like there's so much sort of misinformation. I don't know if I should call it misinformation. There's so much information that is not true, or that is I don't want to use the word lie, but I guess you guys have what I'm trying to say by now. So it sort of makes you start to question other things that the authorities are informing us about. For instance, the whole debacle with the recovery cases, the whole debacle with the people being quarantined in complexes with other healthy people without anybody else being notified. So these things start to make you like, wait, are we actually being fed the right information here? And it makes people start to question some of these things, like the numbers, and maybe the lockdown should go on, and so on. I just feel, looking at what is happening, not even just around the world, but around us, looking at South Africa, looking at Angola, looking at Botswana, who seemed like they were on the right track initially, with their caseload being at zero for a long time after the rest of us had started reporting cases. I don't think opening up would be a smart idea.
No, it's definitely not smart. Yes. It's certainly not the borders. Yeah. But I just wanted to say again, I'll be very clear. I don't think health officials can hide cases. Let's be clear. All right. Even if they attempt to not report them. If people are springing up sick, in complexes, in communities, and villages, and in the township, whatever, people will start talking. I mean, we know this is how much gossip most.
Of course.
Travels.
The rumor mill.
The rumor mill. So this is not stuff that you can really hide, so to say. But the fact that we've not been hearing of people falling sick, because symptoms show themselves. Not everybody is asymptomatic.
Yes.
And so at least the symptoms will show themselves. People will go to hospital because you have a cough, a terrible cough, or you can't breathe or whatever, and you go. And then health officials will start talking like, oh, somebody came in with this, and So it's not something you can hide. So I say it's week 2 since we reported anything, and we're not really hearing the streets talk. The streets are not making noise. So it's okay for us
possibility.
It's a possibility. I'm not saying we should be lax. I'm saying let's breathe a little.
Yeah. It is a possibility that as a country we actually manage to contain the virus at the borders. Maybe a few people who did sort of get in, but they did not spread the virus. And then the few people that were infected by these people, we managed to catch and contain quickly. So it did not spread into our community, so there's no infection in the community.
Yes.
It is possible. Yes, you do not want to, like some will call it wishful thinking, or what do they say, but it is a possibility, and yeah, I think maybe yeah, it is. I mean, personally, I've also started relaxing a little bit. Normally, when I get home, I'm frantically trying to clean everything that I went outside with. But now, I might keep on my pants or whatever. It's just mentally, I'm starting to relax. Also, with that realization that maybe the worst is behind us.
Yeah, I mean, let's be hopeful.
Let's be hopeful, yeah. But we'll hear what the president has to say today, and of course, we will follow whatever directives he does give. Benito Natibi, they should extend the lockdown. I want to see something. You want to see what? Auna Amalwa. Maybe, where did it go? Maybe the school will open on the 3rd of June or the 3rd of August, according to the Minister of Education, but only grade 8 and 12 and high institutions. What about grade 1 to 7? So high school and tertiary institutions. It means that they will not go to school this year, or what? That's according to COVID-19, according to the minister.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I think everybody, the future is uncertain at this point, and I think until we find a vaccine, lockdowns will come and go, depending on infection rates and stuff like that. So we could find that we will open ourselves. We'll, say this basically state of emergency over, and you open. There's no lockdown, and there's free movement. But 3 months from now, cases start springing up at a worrying rate, and then we
have to
go in lockdown
back
again.
into lockdown.
Yeah. So you need to remember, this is a new virus. Everybody's just learning about it. But even apart from all of that, it's a very interesting. It's not, for example, like your HIV/AIDS, where it's generally sexually transmitted. So then the message is clear, like, if you want to avoid infection, use protection, right? It's not that type
abstain.
Or abstain. It's not that type of a virus. It's quite literally one that, that every country is experiencing its own kind of unique blueprint on how it spreads, how it is spreading. How it's spreading in Italy, for example, is very different to how it's spreading in South Africa. How it's spreading in South Africa is very different to how it's spreading in the States, So, yes, it spreads the same way, but I'm saying how it is spreading, okay? Like
how it's being transmitted in
how
the
it's
community.
being transmitted in communities, because it also depends, how are people living? Are they living on top of each other? Do they have space?
Exactly.
Do people already practice social distancing? Are they a close-knit community? Because if you're a close-knit community, infections are worse. How's the population size? All these things you learn every day. So nobody can put up their hand and say, well, we have the solution, because even China's method of tackling it isn't South Korea's method of tackling it, but South Korea is doing just as well as China with a different model. So everybody's kind of looking at their demographic, looking at their population size, looking at just everything and saying, okay, all right, let's try this. And it's really trial and error. So don't blame governments when they get it wrong. Well, blame them to some extent, like when they're being stupid, like the US, but
when they get it blatantly wrong.
When they get it blatantly wrong, regardless of what we know about this virus, like let's go and protest because I want to go get a haircut. I miss my dentist to go get my teeth cleaned, and you go out on the streets in drones to demonstrate. Yes, then blame government for allowing that. But I'm saying for other things, it's like, just understand that for the most part, it is trial and error. And
we are still learning even about the virus and how it behaves, and how it survives where. And
they were telling us it's not airborne, and then they're telling us it is airborne. And then initially they said, well, don't rush out and buy masks because, well, the frontline workers then there will be a shortage. And now they're like saying, oh, no, actually,
Get a mask.
Get a mask. So the messages change every day. We can't keep up, and it's just because people are learning about this thing every day, and that's just the truth of the matter.
And you guys must remember, I mean, it's one person who started the infection. One. You know, you don't need like 10 people to get into the country to infect all of us. It's one person, and look at the kind of chaos the entire world is in. So, you know, you want to be careful when you start talking about reopening and just getting back to normal and, you know, start gathering in large crowds. They have cancelled so many things in Europe. Like, it's difficult to even imagine the kind of hit the economy is going to take.
Yes.
And some of those industries are going to take. But it's just precautions that have to be taken in order to save lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think... Okay, let me see. There are some new comments. South Korea, Kim is MIA, aka dead, maybe. Yeah, I saw all the commotion with regards to that. Of course, he's a unhealthy little man, Mr. Kim Jong Un.
Did you have to call him little?
Yeah, I'm taking a page from Donald Trump's book. Yeah, no, he's I mean, for somebody his size, they say he's obese. And, you know, he doesn't necessarily eat healthily. It is a possible... I mean, these things do happen, so it's hard to just dismiss it and say, you know, it's not true. Because, I mean, there are cases where world leaders have passed on and you know, the information has been kept secret for as long as possible until they could no longer hide. I remember there was a country, they were even posting videos of the president apparently driving like this rally cars, you know, doing donuts and stunts and stuff like that. But they never show the person driving the car. They just show the car making the movements, and then they say it's the president, and they say the president is fine and well. Only to find out this guy's been dead for like weeks or months.
Yeah, but this is not South Korea. I don't know why they're saying
North
Kim,
Korea, yes.
Yeah, Kim is North Korea.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah. King Jong-un, but he's not the most popular.
If the grade 0 to 7 don't go to school this year, now does that mean they will repeat the grades next year?
That's what we say. Like we say, we don't know. Everybody's trying to kind of figure it out at this point.
I'm sure there's going to be a better way to deal with it than just sending all the kids back to repeat the grade.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can incorporate some of this year's work into next year's, into the next grade's work. I mean, the whole point is most of the kids have developed mentally, and they are ready to take on the work for the following year. Like, for instance, a grade 3 child will be ready to be learning grade 4 stuff, but then you would still have to teach them some of the work from the previous grade that they missed because of the pandemic. That's just my opinion anyway. Have you guys seen the number of COVID-19 in Ghana after the lockdown? And also, let's talk about the Huawei 5G thing. Is it true? I'm done with 5G, guys.
I'm so done with 5G.
I'm so done with 5G.
I will also be, in all fairness, I don't know enough about it. Let me just be clear. It's not been one of those issues that have come up, or conspiracy theories that has made me so curious that I actually been reading up on it. So my knowledge on it is very limited, but also it's maybe because I'm ignorant enough to say I don't believe it. I don't know if that's an ignorant statement, but but I don't know. That's why I don't even want to talk about it. I just don't know enough about it, and I don't want to like give people the wrong information.
Like you know, personally, the possibility that some of the things that, you know, are floating out there are true. I mean, obviously there's a probability, but then when you start listening to the story, and if you understand, you know, the geopolitics of the world, and you understand the relationships between some of these nations who are supposedly in cahoots to be doing whatever it is that this 5G is apparently supposed to be doing, then the story starts to fall apart. Yeah. For me. And that's why I'm just not going to entertain it. I'm sorry.
I mean, some countries are talking about aliens. Okay, the States right now. So I'm just saying this lockdown is bringing. So you're talking about UFOs during lockdown. I mean, guys, I don't know. Maybe we need fresh air. Clearly, this lockdown is having a fix on us,
Cabin-
on our mental
cabin
well-being, on our mental well-being, you know.
Something interesting from Estomi here. She says they should stop with students repeating grades. It doesn't happen here. That's in Norway. I think that's where you are.
Yeah. Yes, I tend to agree with that assessment. And also let's be very clear. Kids have their own different talents. And just because somebody is not necessarily book smart doesn't mean they don't have skills in other areas that are just as equally important. It's just that problem we don't hone people's skills and talents. You know, it's like do maths, whatever. Not everybody's good in maths.
The difficulty is like we put all the responsibility for that on the teachers. And imagine our teachers are overwhelmed. I mean, you're sitting in a class with like 40 plus students.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to tend to each one of them and be able to actually pick out that, oh, this guy, this is actually the way to work with him because he is probably going to head in this direction.
They don't have counselors or social workers to assist at schools. Like they should start. That's a very important. They should start placing social workers, children social workers, at all schools. That should be another office on its own.
Yeah.
For when kids are disruptive or there's something clearly wrong, or because we find some kids are not coping well because of circumstances at home and they just need a special or a professional to speak to. So eventually that should be compulsory in all schools.
Yeah. All right. I think that is our show for this morning.
That is Onsa show.
This one's the show.
Somebody was talking about my shirt.
What is written on your shirt?
Read it.
None of us are equal.
There we go.
Yes.
Power.
But some are more equal than others.
Some animals are more equal than others. George Orwell, yes.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the day. Tomorrow is a public holiday. If you ask me, I wouldn't be able to tell you what public holiday it is. I just know it's a
Is
holiday.
it?
Wait, is it tomorrow or Monday?
We have
Tomorrow and Monday, ne? Yes, it's apparently it's a public. All days are public holidays this day, so you know. Imagine it's even workers' day.
Then we are at home. Sis.
All right, guys, enjoy the day, enjoy the long weekend, and we will discuss what Mr. President has to say. Obviously tomorrow in the show.
Yeah, Neville's here tomorrow. I'm sure you'll unpack a lot of what we will know by tomorrow the decisions and the show will obviously unpack that. Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the weekend as well.
Thank
and
you.
Please stay safe.
Always.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys. I'll see you guys again tomorrow.
I'll see you on Monday.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
This week in music.
Hey.